you in?
Right now I'm in 4th, but I'm soon going to be in 5th.
Good. I'm glad you know the future. That's perfect. Now, why are you excited to be here tonight?
Because I'm just excited.
Yeah. No other explanation. Now, I do believe, tell me the truth. Is it true that your dad has a ringside seat, but didn't get you guys ringside seats?
That is true, but it's because of his YouTube channel, okay? It's his YouTube, okay?
Her dad's an influencer. Let him go, guys. But your dad's awesome, right?
Yeah,
See, he's awesome!
Yeah! Can you believe that there are some people in this world that did not tune in to the Alliance Vlog podcast? Shame on you!
Shame on you. My name is Ella Indy, and I'm one half of the NWA Women's World Tag Team Champion.
And I'm Kenzie Paige, the other half of the NWA World Women's Tag Team Champion.
And you better go listen to the Alliance Vlog. What is it called again?
Podcast, period.
Or you're ugly. Pretty Power approved.
Mi gente, you already know who it is. It's the radioactive pop with Danny Limelight, United Wrestling Network World Heavyweight Champion. And make sure you tune into the Alliance Vlog every week. You heard it here first. Straight from Poppy.
Hey guys, check this out. I am officially now sponsored by Dubby. Dubby is a clean energy drink made to give you focus with no crash. If you guys are like me, you're always needing a burst of energy, especially with one with no crash. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. It keeps me awake with no jitters, guys. Check it out. Merch link is in the bio. Dubby. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the pre-party, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com, your number one source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance. My name is Jay Cal, and I join you each and every Tuesday, the hour before Power. We go live at 5 on the East Coast, 2 p.m. here Pacific in Southern California, where it's raining cats and dogs, brother. And I'm here to talk to you about the National Wrestling Alliance, the NWA, if you will, as we march, all puns intended, to the 312 pay-per-view. Don't you know it's coming in hot, coming in fast? And I've got some pals here in my chat here on YouTube. But you can also join us on twitch.tv. We're also live streaming right now on the TikTok. So there's lots of places to join to talk NWA with your pal J Cal, and we're going to be here for the hour leading up to Power. This might be the last Power before the pay-per-view. We don't know that for certain, but I think it might be. James Bell reminded me not to step in a poodle. I thought I was the one that did the dad jokes around here. Nicely done, Mr. Bell. I see who else do we've got in the chat today. We've got Willie Bowen's here. Terry McDermott's here. The great Hisa is here who says konnichiwa. Konnichiwa, sir. The great Hisa is the proprietor of Wrestling Titles Histories. A great website, super resourceful. Check him out on the internet if you like to research the championship histories of multiple titles, multiple promotions, predominantly the National Wrestling Alliance and the promotions that are connected to that. But, I mean, he's got title histories from all across the globe. And one of my favorite sites to check out, honestly, that site gave, believe it or not, helped create the Alliance because I knew that there was a need for more information for the NWA, and Hisa helped get that first step going in. Well, shoot, now I need to go back and listen, James. Thanks for letting me know. James says in the chat that Pope and Pollo gave me a shout out on their podcast. I need to get the Pope on this podcast. If anybody needs to talk to the Pope, it's me. I've been ringing that guy's bell since day one-ish, and I'm not an Uso. But I will say this, man. I believe that the NWA is a better place when the Pope is on the top of the card. Daddy. I'm trying to cut a promo here. I do enjoy the Pope. I really feel like he is highly underutilized by the NWA. He was a great asset as the TV champion, much like Tom Latimer. I feel like he was perfect for that role. But I feel like if you're going to advance and bring in more talent, you don't push the Pope down. No. You need to put the Pope up. Pope should have been the guy to take the belt off of Nick Aldis, and you can't tell me otherwise. Pope should be the guy to take the belt off of Tyrus, and you cannot tell me otherwise. The guy's great on the mic. He's a great promo. And honestly, I feel like if he was your world's heavyweight champion now, yes, people are talking about Tyrus. And some of it's for positive. The guy cuts a great promo. Some of it's positive. You've seen him for the Super Bowl holding the 10 pounds of gold. Some of it's positive. He's on Fox News every night holding that NWA championship. But we can't ignore the fact that some of it's negative. He doesn't move around the ring very well. He's getting older in age. He's not as mobile as he used to be. And for a big man, it starts slowing down once you hit 50. I wish we had better for Tyrus. He deserves a healthy Tyrus. Could have done a lot for the NWA, but in his state right now, I just don't know how much more he could offer. But a guy like the Pope, who has done every job in the NWA. He's been a manager. He's been a wrestler. He sat at the booth. He cuts a mean promo. I see my pal, Chris Cadillac is in the house. Chris, what's up, man? I need to see you sometime. Chris was a great junior heavyweight wrestler here in Southern California, wrestling for like AWS, SoCal Pro. Love that guy. I know he's retired from in-ring competition, but man, he was one of the good guys. I really enjoyed watching him wrestle. Did a lot of fun stuff in the ring. I could think of a couple matches that he had specifically where, like when he won the AWS Light Heavyweight Championship, that was a good time. And the promo that he's another guy that could cut a mean promo. Damn, he got that AWS Southgate crowd all riled up. It's fun stuff, man. Hey, I see Dave Scooby's in the house. What's up, Dave? How you doing? But yeah, getting back to the Pope, man. This isn't a Pope podcast. Obviously, this isn't just all about the Pope. But man, that guy was something special, and I really wish that he was still around and doing things for the NWA. Oddly enough, my channel clicker does not show. Wait, what's going on here? What's going on? Am I not live? Am I talking to myself? Hold on a second. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. Okay, I am live. That's weird. That's weird. Okay, well. We are interacting. That's weird. You guys are all here. Yeah, you guys are talking to me, so we must be good. Anyways, yeah, it's fun. It's fun stuff here on the pre-party. We do this every Tuesday. We're talking some NWA wrestling. Join us in the chats. Give us your comments. You know, we got we're coming up to 312 pay-per-view. Obviously, we're coming off the spurs of the Lucha Libre World Cup down in Guadalajara, Mexico, where they had new champions crowned in team. Honestly, I don't know who won the men's competition, but I know that our gal, our world champion, the one time, the Brick House, Camille, actually, her team won, and her team was actually represented by Impact's Deonna Purrazzo and Jordan Grace, two former women's champions in their own right. Of course, neither one of them have held the illustrious Burke, but pretty cool to see that what's going on down in Mexico. Camille kind of becoming a big deal in Mexico, and you know, not to be jumping around too much here, but if Taya is done wrestling in AAA, if Taya is done wrestling on the independents, if Taya is exclusive to the AEW Ring of Honor relationship, then I could see somebody like Camille really sliding into that role and becoming a dominant Gaijin. Do they call him Gaijin in Mexico? To be a dominant champion for that company. You know, she's already had, I guess, technically 4 appearances now, because she made her debut at Reina de Reinas. She made her debut at Triple Mania last year, challenging the Reina de Reinas championship against Taya Valkyrie. She lost. Then she made her second appearance at the March 4th, The World is a Vampire Festival, where she took on Lady Flamer in a title match where she was successful. She won. She retained the Burke. It was a great match. You saw it there live. And then this past weekend, after defending the championship in Philadelphia on Saturday night, she came back to Mexico on Sunday and was part of the women's Team America for the Lucha Libre World Cup, which they won. So they had 2 6-woman tag team matches. So there's a lot of positive happening there for Camille, a lot of positive for the NWA. And if she plays her cards right, man, I could see her definitely just sliding right into that role as a dominant, non-Mexican wrestler in that country. I don't know. I got to be honest. I am so weirded out right now. I don't know if the YouTube is live. And you guys aren't. Oh, there's some more chats. Okay. There it is. A dominant gringa. There we go. Yes. Thank you. He said, that means you guys are listening. That means we are broadcasting. That means I'm feeling much better about things. Let's just check out what some of the comments are, because as promised, this is a podcast where we listen to you, the hashtag NWA fam. We take your comments. We listen to them. We read them. If they're appropriate, Willie Bowen, because Willie does some of the more racier jokes, especially when it comes to Angelina Love. Let's see. Willie says he'd rather be in Southern California right now. It's beautiful, man, but it is flooding everywhere, especially where I live. It's nothing but water. Dodie says the last power before the pay-per-view. We don't even know what's the deal with the world tag title, and it won't even tell in today's episode. Yeah, Dodie, I don't know for sure, right? But we're just about a week away, right? Because today's the 21st. Next week will be the 28th, and then the pay-per-view. Is there time for the pay-per-view? Oh, I guess okay, maybe I was off a little bit. Let me look at the calendar here as I put my foot in my mouth, because no, I guess we have April 4th. It could be another episode of Power. But we also have 2 episodes of that. Well, I guess I'm speaking out of turn here, because I don't really know 100% what the matches are going to be for what sets up 312 pay-per-view with the La Rebellion. We know that they haven't been featured at all on any of these power tapings. They haven't been featured on TV for a while, but we do know that they were also as part of the Lucha Libre World Cup, and with some selective editing, they could easily pipe in a challenger for that. I believe they're taking. I don't know who they're taking on. Maybe they're not wrestling a match at the pay-per-view, but we'll talk more about that in a little bit. I do appreciate likes, shares, comments, retweets. All of that stuff is good for the podcast. It's good for me. It helps with the algorithm. Even after the show's over, where the live chats fill up, just leaving a comment underneath the video really does help with the algorithm. It helps us get seen by more people. So if you guys could do that, I'd appreciate that too. Dodie says, with that being said, I just spent dollars for a sunset far away in Mexico recently. Maybe an episode of Power can restore my sanity. The sunset of Guadalajara. Or Guadalajara sunsets. It sounds like a sex move, if you ask me. Dodie's in the house. Willie says hi to Dodie. Willie says, tires can eat a rotisserie chicken cooked in 25 seconds. They can clean it bones, too. James Bell says, trained professional. Yeah, I know. Okay, I know. Lane Brick says, how is CMLL? Did you go to more than just the AAA versus NWA show? Yeah, man. I have clips ready to go. You guys want to see some CMLL action? Here we go.
Adolfo González, Bestia Negra.
so I'm not going to go through a whole bunch of clips. That would be silly. Who would do a whole show of clips from Mexico? That sounds asinine. Camille says, Willie says Camille is an awesome NWA's women's champion right now. And I loved Thunder Rosa as women's champion. Right now, Camille is the standard bearer. She is the measuring stick that all other women's champion will be measured against, because what she's done as a women's champion is oddly akin to what Nick Aldis did as world's heavyweight champion, taking that belt on the road, defending it in the UK, defending it in Canada. Unlike our boy Nick Aldis, who maybe he's your boy, not mine. He called me a jabroni. The nerve of that guy. Anyways, unlike Nick Aldis, she did take the title to Mexico and has defended it now at least once, and I guarantee you there'll be more. She's also going to be a part of the Australian tour that takes place like Nick Aldis. In fact, the only thing that she probably won't be able to do as champion is defend in China. And I don't think anyone's going to be able to get back to China for a live wrestling event anytime soon. I could be surprised. I could be mistaken. But, I mean, there's other things that there's other things that Camille could do. Obviously, there are promotions now popping up in the Middle East that have a strong desire for pro wrestling. In fact, she was linked to one promotion, although it never came to fruition. But, yeah, I think she could. She could be the first woman to ever defend the Burke in a foreign, in the Middle East, in like Qatar, or I can't remember what the other country was that promotion ran in. But yeah, and then besides that, if I'm Billy Corgan, I might try to partner up with some of these USO promotions that do wrestling events in Mexico. I know, or not Mexico, Jesus. That do wrestling shows overseas. I know that Johnny LaQuasto recently did a wrestling event. I know that Lisa Marie Varon, is that her last name? I can't remember right now. Whatever, she was there. I know that Carlitos was on that tour, and could you think about it if you could have the NWA champions? I mean, look, Tyrus, he fancies himself as a patriot, right? Why not send him to the Middle East and do a wrestling match while defending the 10 pounds of gold, right? I think that'd be amazing. That might be the best use that you could use for Tyrus. And then he could do a book autograph signing after the show. It's for the troops. Tim likes the shirt. This one I think is on Amazon, but we got to get it back to, I'm going to try to get everything off of Amazon. Amazon, the pricing is all whacked out, and it's a lot more expensive to put shirts up on Amazon. But yeah. Yeah. And Paladin's in the house. Rick is in the house. I'm going to see Rick Saturday. Yes. I'm going to see Tim Saturday too. I've got presents for them. I'm going to see those guys, those gentlemen, those dudes in New Jersey. In rustic Glassboro, New Jersey, as part of the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators event called Beware of Dog. It's going to be awesome. Dave Scooby says, I believe it may be Savages who go after the tag titles. I thought I saw, and in fact, you know what? I have it here locked and loaded. I believe the Savages are challenging for the U.S. tag titles. Yep, there it is. The Savages are challenging for those U.S. tag team titles. So I don't believe that's the belts that they won't be challenging La Rebellion for the belts. But we'll have to see how that all plays out. Of course, I mean, we'll have to see. Yeah, Paladin, you are here for the live show, and I do appreciate you for being here, man. That's awesome. Let's see. Dodie says, this JCal amateur CMLL shots look more professional in the sunset over Guadalajara. Yeah, I mean, I was sitting front row. Let me see. More clips. This one was from pretty far back when I was at Arena Coliso, or Arena Mexico. This is me walking in. I thought it was pretty awesome. It was fan appreciation night that night. Every fan that showed up got a costume to dress up like a chair. It was a sold out show, but you could see that there was a lot of empty seats. It was just an optical illusion. They were not actually empty seats. I don't know. Maybe I'm high. I don't know. Hisa says, and of course, I want Camille to be a dominant gaijin in one of those Japanese promotions too. Imagine her showing up in Stardom, right? God, that would be amazing. And so they got this forbidden door we keep hearing about, and you know that the artist formerly known as Sasha Banks, Mercedes Monet, is said to be stepping through that forbidden door. Maybe she's going to pop up in AEW. Maybe her and Mickie James will have a match. But could you imagine if Stardom opens up a door for the NWA and the women of the NWA, and we get somebody like, I don't know, Genocide and Natalia Markova and Kenzie Paige and Camille to head to Japan and have some matches. I mean, we know Max the Impaler and Heidi Howitzer are working for DDT, which I know is not connected directly to the into New Japan Pro Wrestling at all, but needless to say, that would be interesting to see if Camille could show up in a Japanese wrestling ring. Again, that would be something that we haven't ever seen as a well, I shouldn't say ever. We haven't seen it, since the advent of New Japan Pro Wrestling as a NWA Women's Champion wrestling in Japan. Let's see. Dodie says, All Japan Women Pro Wrestling are no longer for many long ago, unfortunately. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, you guys are responding. Terry has this shirt. Terry was one of the guys that got one. I love this shirt, actually. It's the baseball sleeves, which I really, really like. The logo is of the we had this made up. It's supposed to be like the TV title, but the Alliance logo instead of the traditional television logo. This was actually done by everybody's favorite James Vanderbeek on Twitter, and I do dig it. It's one of my favorite shirts. You don't see me wear it very often, but it's not because I don't like it. It's just because I don't. Somebody wanted to join the official KZ. No, I'm sorry, man. I'm just going to do my show here. Alliance says, don't forget Dog's big event this Saturday, March 25th in beautiful uptown Rustic, New Jersey. Tim will be there. Jaden will be there. Jay Cal will be there. Scoob will be there. Rick Del Santo will be there. Come join us. Yeah, if you guys are within a 3-hour radius of Rustic, New Jersey, Glassboro, New Jersey, you should definitely come out. We're going to try to have some fun. Like I said, I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah, Rick's looking forward to it. Paladin says, tell Camille to stop running from Jade Cargill. Woo! Those are fine words, my friend. I think that they could have a pretty interesting match. I actually see them more as a tag team. I see Jade and Camille more like having the same kind of wherewithal and would make a really good tag team. And depending on which wrestling promotion, like I know I don't believe currently that AEW has a women's tag team division, but imagine if they did. I could see Jade and Camille being big on that. Paladin says he can dig it. I think that's how I would use it, because look, until Camille's under contract to AEW, I don't want her jobbing to anybody in AEW, and I can guarantee you Tony Khan doesn't want any of his talent jobbing to, especially his champions, jobbing to the NWA champion. So why not have a compromise, put them as a tag team, and you can have a lot of fun with that. And remember, at that point, then their victories, reflect well on Jade Cargill, and don't, whoever loses isn't necessarily losing to Camille. They're losing to the team of Jade Cargill and Camille. I mean, that's how I would do it. And Terry says he wants to see Camille beat up Father James just for fun. I mean, why not? At some point, we might get another Max the Impaler versus Camille title match, in which case, if Father James Mitchell gets involved, I could see Camille certainly laying hands to him. But, I honestly haven't seen him take any bumps in the NWA, so I probably wouldn't imagine that would happen. Willie Bowen says, what about more lady wrestlers from Mission Pro Wrestling coming to the NWA Power in USA? I mean, from your lips to the NWA's ears, I think that would be great for the NWA. I think they definitely need it. Real quick, how about some more footage from Mexico while I change my battery real quick? It was almost seamless. It was almost flawless. Man, next time remember to get a longer video. Uh, anyways, I thought that battery was fully charged. It's my fault. So we got some matches coming up tonight, and I, for one, think that this is going to be a very telling episode of Power, because obviously some of these matches are going to determine what's going to happen at the pay-per-view. And depending on how some of these results go, it can be really impactful for what's going to happen with the NWA. Now, as we were talking about Camille earlier, Camille has really been on fire for the NWA. When she goes and heads to Mexico City and defeats Lady Flamer, when she's a part of the Team USA and the Lucha Libre World Cup, wearing the Burke, I mean, she was the champion on that team. There was no championship belt around Deonna Purrazzo's waist. There was no championship belt around Jordan Grace's waist. So obviously she kind of stood out as the champion. And I mean, this photo says it all. Look at that. She's wearing the Burke in this photo. I mean, she's right there, front and center. They have their awards. They're smiling. They're happy. And the Burke is right there, which leads me to believe like that this is a great opportunity for the NWA to maximize on the popularity of what Camille is bringing to the table. And like I said, she just defended the title on Thursday, or what was it? Gosh, now I forgot. I think it was Saturday night. She defended the title in at the ECW arena for her Battleground Championship Wrestling. Again, another successful title defense for Camille as she defeated, what was her name? She defeated, I have it written down here somewhere, Vita Von Star. And so, tonight, the NWA is going to celebrate Camille by replaying the match from Enough Said when she, not Enough Said, but Enough Said, when her and Angelina Love went one-on-one in a no disqualification match for that Women's World Championship. And I'll say this, man, Angelina Love came to fight in this one, and she really did bring that fight to Camille. But let's be honest, she's still not in the same category as Camille when we talk about a Women's World Champion. She's still not on top of anything when it comes to the NWA, because that's Camille's landscape. That's Camille's house. And until someone can come in and prove otherwise, this is Camille's world. We're all just living in it. Paladin, it wasn't the CMLL World Cup. It was the AAA World Cup, and that's actually available on Fight. You might not have found it because it was the AAA World Cup, but it was presented by Fight. The pay-per-view, I believe, is still available. Obviously, you're watching the replays of it, but it's available on Fight. Again, the AAA Lucha Libre World Cup. And yeah, Penta in the back. I mean, look, Penta was part of the winning team, I believe. The Team Mexico, I think, won. I think it was like the Team Legends or something won for team for the men's event. Scooby says she was great Saturday night in Philly. Yeah, man. Philly has been very kind to Camille. I mean, that's, I believe, her third appearance in the old ECW arena. I know that she's made appearances in the past for Battleground Pro Wrestling. But obviously she's taking that title and defending it in every single spot she can. I mean, this is very, that's what I'm looking for. This is very good. A very good man. It's great. I think that Camille winning titles, defending that title everywhere is really adding to the lore of who she is as a Women's World Champion and what she's been able to do in such a short amount of time. I mean, we're talking 600 plus days. Recently, the Busted Open was talking about women's wrestlers, and your boy Jay called in and said, hey, put some respect on Camille's name. Because it's just, she's that good. She deserves it. Next up, on this episode of Power, like I said, they're playing a replay from the pay-per-view from Enough Said. I kind of wish they'd dig deeper back into the vault. If you're going to pull out matches from the vault, go a couple years ago, because if someone's watching the NWA right now, they're seeing these matches. And if you're trying to spread that little bit of content that you recorded in Tampa, there's still, like we said, we discovered that there's at least 2 more weeks worth of Power to happen. If they have to go to the vault to do so, to stretch these shows out, I mean, go back to the old episodes of USA, or not USA, go back to the old episodes of Power and maybe even circled square and give us, the early match between the Russians, the Koloffs, and who they face, Hakari. Next up on this episode, this week of Power, you're gonna get. Let me see your comments real quick. Paladin says he hasn't watched WWE since they were WWF. Man, you've missed some stuff. I mean, I get it, and not a lot of people like it, but you've missed some stuff. Willie says WWE lady wrestlers can't hold a candle to the NWA ladies wrestlers and Impact knockouts. I do believe there are some really talented women in the WWE. I know booking isn't everyone's cup of tea, but I mean, when you look at that roster, there's some very, very capable talents. And I mean, when I start thinking about the dream matches you could have, like Charlotte versus Camille, or Becky Lynch versus Camille, or Rhea Ripley versus Camille. I mean, these are matches that I think all these talents could benefit from. They're solid athletes. I'm not gonna put them down. Paladin says, I tried to watch Stephanie McMahon when she was talking about her father retiring. All I saw was flying spaceships and beer cups with my sunglasses floating around my screen. Yeah, I don't like the graphics either. I hear you. I don't like that either. A lot of AEW fans hate WWE. The talent does promos mocking WWE. Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I don't really watch the WWE. I really don't watch AEW. I watch Power. I watch Championship Wrestling, and that's my wheelhouse. I wish I had more time to watch MLW, but I just haven't made time for it. It looks like a product I would enjoy. The storylines look interesting to me. I just, it's hard to niche out time for everything. Terry says Butch and Gunther are worth watching in the WWE, but that's it for me. I mean, look, I'll be honest. I'm excited about what Cody Rhodes is going to bring to the table. Him and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, I think, is going to be off the charts. Needless to say that Cody Rhodes is a former NWA World's Heavyweight Champion, so I kind of hope that he comes in and wins that championship belt, because that's a very small group of individuals that have been able to hold, the top title in the WWE and former NWA World Champions. I mean, I think we're like maybe a handful of guys, and that's going back to Ric Flair. So it'll be interesting. Paladin says, it's us versus them, Jay. Don't be a fence sitter. It'll start to hurt. Look, man, I'm not sitting on a fence. I just chose a different side of the yard. I don't have to choose because I don't watch really either one of them. I see highlights on Twitter of both of them. If you look at the rosters, who are my favorite wrestlers? Well, more of them are in AEW right now. Samoa Joe is absolutely my favorite wrestler of all time. I put him above everybody. One of my other favorite wrestlers is Scrap Iron Adam Pearce, who is, leadership management role for the WWE. Bryan Danielson is one of my all-time favorite wrestlers. He's in AEW. Those are my top three guys right there. So, then we start looking at the NWA roster. The Pope, let's get him a World Heavyweight Championship. But okay, so let's get to that next match, and the next match is going to be, and these aren't in any particular order. This is your boy Jay guessing on the events. Like I would not end with the pay-per-view match that was already seen by people who ordered the pay-per-view. So the next match to me, I think will come up is going to be Daisy Kill, a poor man's Van Hammer. He's the minivan Hammer, taking on Trevor Murdoch. Now, this match got started when your boy Trevor Murdoch took on Beast Mode, which we probably aren't going to see Beast Mode ever again in the NWA. I heard that there was some bad blood there. It seems like he might have tried to go into business for himself against Trevor Murdoch, apparently. And that surprises me that they even aired the match. But I guess, when you need the content, you're going to air what you got. But needless to say, when Daisy Kill attacked Trevor Murdoch after that match, he essentially signed his own death warrant. Kill is going to have to repent. I don't know if this is actually even a match or just the two are going to meet for an interview. I don't really know, because with the NWA, you don't ever really know. But his attack on Trevor didn't go so well. And with the sudden disappearance of Beast Mode, I don't think that you're going to see any interference. And it's just going to be Trevor Murdoch against the mini Van Hammer. And, well, Daisy kills a dead man. As far as I'm concerned, he doesn't stand a chance against Trevor Murdoch. And a highly motivated Trevor Murdoch is, honestly, one of the deadliest things you can have in the NWA. Because Trevor Murdoch, let's not forget, he's a 2-time NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. And the first time he was kind of effed out of the title, pardon my French, but, you know, bringing in Matt Cardona and all the shenanigans involved, I didn't like it. And, you know, I'd rather see Trevor Murdoch back in that title picture, but they sidestepped him. Now, you know, Tyrus won the belt. We haven't got a rematch for Trevor Murdoch yet. Hopefully, maybe we'll get that down the road. But until then, you know, Tyrus has sidestepped Trevor. He's taken on, you know, he's beaten Matt Cardona. He's now taking on Chris Adonis at the pay-per-view at 312. And then, you know, presumably, we might get an EC3 match down the road. We don't even hear about Trevor Murdoch being discussed in that world title picture. But let's see. More of your guys' comments. Jody says, let WWE and AEW fans bots shitting each other. We just enjoy ourselves watching the NWA. Don't talk WWE if you hate them. Yeah, I mean, like, it just... I'm one of those guys that, you know what, I prefer Marvel movies to DC movies, but you know what, I still go watch DC movies. I consume the content. You know, if something's made for me, then I will consume it. I don't not watch the WWE because I hate it. I don't watch it because I don't have cable. If it was made available free to me on my computer screen, I would watch it. Now, I'm not going to go, you know, download it off of torrent sites or anything like that. But if it was made available free to me to watch, I would watch it. And the same thing with AEW. With that being said, I don't watch Dark or Elevation. I could. And sometimes when something cool happens, like my boy Danny Limelight makes an appearance, or some of the guys from Championship Wrestling are there, like, I'll tune in, but I wouldn't call myself an avid viewer of either company, either brand. Dave Scooby says Daisy looks like a young Randy the Ram. Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty good, accurate way of saying it. Why would a man call himself Daisy? Maybe that was his mom. You know, there's a boy named Sue too. You know, he sways when he walks. Paladin, keep it on the up and up, brother. Paladin says it's too much time. I'm struggling fitting in Ring of Honor now that they do weekly shows. Yeah, man. Look, Ring of Honor is another one, right? Like, man, I don't want to pay $9.99 for Honor Club, but it's, or $4.99, whatever it is. It's tempting though, because again, you got Samoa Joe, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. You got Claudio Castagnoli, who I very much enjoy. You've got Wheeler Yuta, who I've heard only good things about. Then you've got guys like Rhett Titus showing up. Willie Mack was on the card a couple of weeks ago. I really do like Claudio Castagnoli as well. So I don't hate what they're doing with Ring of Honor either. I just don't have time for it. And, you know, I don't necessarily want to pay extra for it either. Willie Bowen says, I'm a big Aquaman and Justice League fan. Yeah, I mean, look, sorry, I'm going to get back to that in a minute, Willie, but Mike made a funny joke. Daisy reminds me of Carrot Top and Van Hammer Love Child. I call him Mini Van Hammer, Mike. Willie says, I'm a big Aquaman and Justice League fan. Like, yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the Snyder movies. I'm not a Snyderverse guy, but I did recently just watch Black Adam, and despite all the hate for it, like, I thought it was a pretty good flick, and I definitely enjoyed it. I plan on seeing Shazam, but I'm not going to run out to the theater to go see it. It's just I'll see it when I see it. Same thing with Black Adam. I did go out and see the Batman when that came out. Saw that pretty early. Was a huge fan of the first Wonder Woman movie, and you know, now that we're talking about DC, but every Marvel movie I see within the first week, because I just very much love that. But that's me. That's me, and I enjoy that content, so I pursue that content. And you know, if I see a good movie based on Image Comics or Dark Horse Comics, I'll go consume that too, because it's just, I like that content. So it doesn't really matter to me who the house is that make it. Like even I recently saw I went back and watched the old Spider-Man movies, the Amazing Spider-Man movies that were produced by Sony with James Garfield, and I didn't think I would like those movies, and actually I didn't like the second one at all, but the first one was really good. I thought they did a good job. I wouldn't mind if Sony brought him back and used that as a separate universe and used James Garfield as that Spider-Man in that universe. But now we're getting off topic. This is supposed to be a wrestling podcast. Let's see. Paladin said, I like the Snyder Cut thing. It was 5 hours long. I can't sit 5 hours for movies. Mike says Snyder Cut was okay, however, too long. Black Adam shouldn't have been kid-oriented. I agree. I don't feel like it should have been kid-oriented either. I felt like the kid was kind of holding that story back a bit. You got a guy who's out there just murdering fools. Like, leave it at that. I thought that was good. Shazam. Yeah, Shazam too. Mike says, don't go to the theater. Watch it at home when you have nothing else to do. Daisy Keels should be billed as Danny Deals' cousin. Oh, speaking of Danny Deals, thanks for reminding me because I almost forgot. Let me get into the message folder because our boy Danny Deals reached out again and offered another promo code to get 20% off anything in the store until Monday. And that promo code is March Deals, and that's Deals with a Z. I'm going to write it in the chat real quick. I forgot about that. I meant to have a graphic made for that. March Deals to save 20% off the NWA merch. Now, I don't get a kickback for this. This is not helping out this podcast in any way. But if you guys want to save 20% off your merchandise, use that promo code March Deals. You'll save 20%. I think it's cool that Danny reaches out to us. That means he appreciates our audience. That means he recognizes that this is a NWA safe house, a safe haven, if you will. So if you're looking to get any kind of merchandise from the NWA, 20% off, you can't beat that. That's more than double the tax. So jump on it. Getting back to the chats real quick. So I'm not going to go to the theater to see Shazam. You got it. Daisy Kill should be billed as Danny Deals' cousin. That's right. Shazam cast was good, better than Black Adam in my view. However, again, you'll see. Okay, fair enough. Like I liked the first Shazam movie, but I felt it was very corny. But I guess that's what the comic is too, from what I've been told. So we'll see. Paladin said he took bathroom breaks. All right. Well, Mike says, I'm a SWAT Danny like a fly. Yeah, I bought the Poyo Throwbilly poster last week when Poyo said it's live. Pre-order, no code. $9 shipping, no code available. I can't even refund the order. NWA won't let you. Man, I'm sorry, Mike. That sucks. But at least your money went to help sponsor the NWA and support them. So take notice in that. Oh, Flashpoint Comics is talking on my on TikTok, and he said that James Gunn will be directing Superman. Yeah, I actually like James Gunn as a director. I really liked the Suicide Squad. I very much like the Peacemaker on HBO. I thought that was a fantastic series. I can't wait to see the sequel. I've really enjoyed the very first Guardians of the Galaxy. The second one left a little bit to be desired, but I'll look forward to that one as well. The third one that's coming out, just because it's supposed to close out the story. But I mean, if he could take fringe characters, we're not talking about C level, D level, F level. We're talking about like Z list characters and make them meaningful and make people care about them. Just imagine what he could do with the Man of Steel. I mean, nobody was talking about Peacemaker before Suicide Squad, and now he had his own show on HBO Max, John Cena. That's awesome. Nobody was talking about, Drax the Destroyer or Rocket Raccoon or Groot. These were all characters that James Gunn really brought to life in his adaptations of those stories. So him writing Superman, I think he can do an amazing job. I'm looking forward to it. And I think Flashpoint agrees with me. So cool, man. Hey, we're actually doing the show, this podcast that you're watching right here on TikTok. We also do it on YouTube, bigger screen. And we're talking this is a wrestling podcast, but sometimes we talk comic books, evidently. Willie Bowen says Danny Deals and Chris Rock should make a video called Slot. Keep my name out your. Never mind. Terry says I should start a Marvel and DC podcast, and I gotta be honest, the desire is there, the time is just non-existent. I don't have time. I wish I did, because I could talk comics as much as I could talk wrestling. I grew up as a fan in the late 80s, early 90s, and I bought everything I could. I loved the X-Men, I loved Iron Man and the War Machine, I loved the Thor, I loved X-Force, X-Factor, New Mutants before that. I love comics. I bought everything Image that came out, anything Jim Lee touched, I loved. Anything Rob Liefeld touched, I loved. I used to collect comics, but I don't need more. I haven't in 30 years. When I was a teenager, I loved comics. I still love them. I just don't have time for them. And, but I mean, like, comics were kind of my thing. I still have some stuff like Thor in a jar, but I love comics. I just don't have that time anymore. But I think the stories are great. But okay, so let's get back to wrestling, because that's what we do here. Flashpoint says Jeff John is my favorite writer. I haven't read enough of his. I know that he's done some good stuff, and I know that he's got he'll have a part of what happens in the DC universe going forward. So I'm interested in that. Then the next match, that this is really going to be, it could be problematic for the NWA universe, because we have Taya Valkyrie making her first appearance in AEW when they were in Ontario. Was it Ontario? They were in Canada. Apologies all due to my pal Tim. I don't know Canadian geography, but Taya made her appearance in Canada as she got face-to-face with Jade Cargill. But tonight we have a women's TV title qualifier match, the tournament semi-final match, with Max the Impaler taking on Taya Valkyrie. Now, the thing about this is, if this match goes Max's way, then no harm, no foul. If Max is dominant, if the non-binary badass is dominant in this match and wins it, then no harm, no foul. We move forward. Real quick, Flashpoint. I'm on youtube.com/The Alliance Blog, just like you see it in the name on here. But yeah, and then you can watch the NWA wrestling tonight on youtube.com/NWA. But if tonight Max the Impaler loses to Taya Valkyrie, then that sets up a lot of problem issues for the NWA. Number one, considering that Taya Valkyrie she's AEW, the graphic was made, Tony Khan welcomed her to the company. I don't know that she's available to work the NWA anymore. And I mean, this is going to be a very big problem for companies like AAA and MLW, considering that she is still the Reinas championship in AAA, and she's still the MLW Featherweight Champion. So what are they going to do? I mean, this could be catastrophic for them. April, I believe April 9th is the next MLW pay-per-view. And as of right now, I don't see her name on the fight card. It's Battle Riot 5 in Philly. I don't see her name on that fight card. So if she's not defending that featherweight championship, are they going to have to strip the title off of her? I don't want to get banned off of TikTok. Real quick, I'm going to answer your question in just a minute. Hang with me. Flashpoint. I will answer your question, who I think the greatest NWA world champion is, but I want to finish my thought here on the women's TV title match, because again, we know Kenzie Paige will be in Chicago. She's going to face the winner of this match, whether it be Taya Valkyrie or Max the Impaler. Now, Max the Impaler is obviously problematic for anyone they step in the ring with. Max the Impaler, the non-binary badass, whatever you want to call it, her, they. I think they is the appropriate term, and I don't mean to sound insensitive. When they come to the ring, I have delusions of Big Van Vader. And Vader was such a dominant pro wrestler. Vader was such a bad dude. And I see Max the Impaler, and I think that could be the offspring of Vader. And when they come to the ring, they very much have that same energy. So whether they face Taya Valkyrie tonight or Kenzie Paige at the pay-per-view, it'll be hard-pressed for me to think that Max won't walk away with gold. But again, if Taya wins tonight, it sets up so many problematic issues. I don't know what we're going to do. So as a collective, I think the NWA needs to keep rooting for Max as they march to 312 pay-per-view. And I saw what you said there, Mr. Paladin. We're not going to talk about that. But to Flashpoint Comics, he asked me who I feel is the greatest NWA World Champion is. Now, I feel like, unfortunately, with the NWA, it's such a vast company. It's been around for 75 years now. So when you say who's the greatest, I think there's different eras. And so if I say, well, the greatest world champion of all time has to be Ric Flair, I feel like maybe you're insulting somebody like Lou Thez, who literally put the NWA on his back and built it. That what Lou Thez did was probably more significant than anything that anyone else has ever done. But then I look, what Ric Flair did was he was the most flamboyant world champion. He held the title more than anybody else, which also means he lost it more than anybody else. But he was the most closely associated name to the NWA for a long, long time. And I don't know that you can diminish his attributes, but then you go to the weak moments for the NWA, like a guy like Steve Corino, who wrestled in Texas and Canada and Japan and tried to keep that title viable, or a guy like Shinya Hashimoto, who was a New Japan Pro wrestler pursuing the NWA title across Japan, the United States, chasing I forgot his name. Another champion from New Japan Pro Wrestling. I'm gonna have to look it up because I can't think of it. Give me a second. Hang tight. The NWA World Heavyweight Champion. So like Hashimoto went across Japan to chase after Noya Ogawa, who, again, Ogawa came to the United States again as a former MMA fighter turned pro wrestler, representing the NWA in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He was the World Heavyweight Champion, took on matches in the UK and the US. So, I mean, every generation, there were guys that kind of held the glue together. The generation that I have a lot of love and respect for was they call it the wilderness era. I call it more like the just the post TNA years. A guy like Scrap Iron Adam Pearce definitely kept the NWA afloat. If it wasn't for a guy like Adam Pearce, there would have been no reason for Bruce Tharpe to keep the NWA going, which would have meant there would have been no reason for Billy Corgan to buy it. But even going further than that, I mean, today would have been the 51st birthday of Chris Candido. Candido was the guy that said, "Hey, put me in, coach." When Shane Douglas threw that belt down, Candido was the guy that went out there and won it and put it up and said, "Here, let me do this." And of course, he lost to Dan the Beast Severn, who, combined mixed martial arts and pro wrestling in a way that we've never seen before, and was an active competitor in the UFC, fighting in the octagon while carrying the 10 pounds of gold on his way to the ring, only to go wrestle in New Jersey a few nights later, and then in 98 make his debut in the WWE as a world's heavyweight champion, the National Wrestling Alliance World's Heavyweight Champion. Now, he never defended the belt in the WWE, but he was the only guy to ever work for the WWE while simultaneously working for the UFC and still taking indie dates, working in Japan and New Jersey. I mean, you can't say enough good things about Dan the Beast Severn. So, in other words, who was the greatest champion of all time? That's a hard question to answer. I have to probably say Ric Flair. But you can't really diminish. There's so many guys that kept that ball going, that made that title relevant. And that's why I'm in love with this brand. It's so fun to me. And for you guys that can't see it, Flashpoint said that he got to watch Adam Pearce versus Adam Cole. I did see those matches down in Florida. I wasn't there live, but I saw them through what was it called? Drawing a blank. It wasn't Ring of Honor. It was Ring Wars, NWA Ring Wars. All right, let's go. So you guys have some comments, and I'm going to read them, and I'm probably going to get in trouble. Paladin says, I still have my comics from when I was a kid, around 300 in boxes. I have a few boxes, not that many. They're not in great shape. I used to trace the pictures because I couldn't draw, and I loved I loved those books. So I actually read them. So they're not like, I can't sell them for anything. I can't score them for anything. Willie Bowen says, I collect comic books and trade paperback. Paladin says, Talia is all elite. I got my comics in plastics with a board. Most of mine have boards too. Flashpoint said his matches were in Ring of Honor. Yeah, I forgot that too. Ring of Honor and Ring Warriors both ran those matches. Willie Bowen likes Taya Valkyrie's backside. Taya's a very pretty lady. That's all I'm going to say about that. Paladin says Taya debuting tells us who wins this match. Funny thing too, because on Impact TV she was still tag team champion and dropped the belt a week later on TV after debuting. Yeah, I get that too. Nothing is certain though. They're not under contract with the NWA. There's like a handful of NWA talents who are under contract. Taya, I don't believe ever was one of them. So I woke Mike up by saying strip her. Paladin, no, I didn't do that, Paladin. Mike says, I have a feeling Max wins due to Taya and AEW. I mean, that's probably what's going to happen. But I also want to, live in the kayfabe. Sean Mega says Harley Race is the greatest world champion. And Race was a great champion. You can't argue that either. Like I said, there's a lot of great cases to be who the greatest champion was ever. You can't even do an actual Mount Rushmore for the NWA because I feel like there's too many names that you're going to leave out. It's a tough answer. Dodie wants Severn in the NWA now. I don't know about that. I got to see Severn a couple of, I guess it was a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. And although he's a great dude, a very nice guy, I don't think he's wrestling anymore. Willie says Muda, Dan Severn, Mike Rapata, Giant Baba, Blue Demon, Jack Briscoe, Terry Funk, the Funk Brothers, all great world champions. Yeah, I mean, it's true. They are. And it's, look, man, the NWA has had a lot of wonderful, amazing world champions. There's been a few guys who, maybe you would say like, hey, well, they weren't worth their weight in salt. But again, you start thinking about this, right? And like Mike Rapata is a guy that I used to harass all the time. I think, man, that guy was awful. Why did they ever make him champion? But keep in mind, if Mike Rapata wasn't wrestling, if Mike Rapata wasn't carrying that NWA World's Heavyweight title and that title went dormant or worse, disappeared, and we had no more NWA World's Champion, then like it never would have got to Sabu. It never would have got to Steve Corino. It never would have got to Hashimoto, to Dan Severn, to Shamrock, to Jarrett, to Ron Killings, to Sting, to Abyss, to Rhino, to Raven, to Christian Cage, to Adam Pearce. I forget AJ Styles. How could I forget AJ Styles? Luthez says legitimacy equals best equals Luthez. I mean, you can't argue with that, right? You can't. I can't argue against that. The dude literally unified wrestling titles all across the country. And back then there was no like world champion. You had area champions, and there was a Los Angeles world champion. There was a Midwest world champion. I don't know, man. I really think like the Thez is the guy that kicked it all off. Without Thez, you don't have the NWA. But who's to say that there wasn't somebody that could have done that too? I mean, what if you would have went with Danny Hodge? I mean, he was a junior heavyweight, but Danny Hodge could have done that, right? What if Carl Gotch did it? Could you have done that with Carl Gotch? Could someone have replaced Ric Flair? Could Tully Blanchard have been Ric Flair in the NWA? Could Kerry Von Erich have? If Kerry Von Erich had stayed alive, could he have been the Hulk Hogan of the NWA? I don't know. Sean Mega is not a fan of Mike Rapata. He should not be mentioned with the Funk Brothers or Jack Briscoe. I mean, again, okay. You're going to tell me that Adam Pearce doesn't belong in that sentence either? You're going to tell me that Steve Corino doesn't belong in that sentence? You're going to tell me Hashimoto? You're going to tell me that, Sabu, none of those guys could be there? Sean Mega says no one could be Ric Flair. I mean, okay. Could Macho Man Randy Savage have done that? Dave Scooby said, could Magnum TA have done that? I'm wondering, could Nick Bockwinkel have done it? The AWA World Champion. Hell yes. You can't tell me Nick Bockwinkel could have carried the 10 pounds of gold. No way. No way. And we're getting close to the hour, man. We went longer than I thought we would. Those who make fun of Rapata, I wonder how many of them actually have seen him wrestle. I've only seen him 2 or 3 times. My Mike Rapata matches were exclusive to Music City Wrestling when he was the Colorado Kid, and watching him on the do enhancement matches for WCW main event. Hey, Jeremy, welcome to the show. Okay, and so for the last match of the night, because I haven't got to it yet, is, of course, we've got Bam Bam Terry Gordy taking on Michael P.S. Hayes in a battle of the Freebirds. Now, obviously, with all the chat about this upcoming Von Erich movie, we posted it on the Alliance website. You guys have seen it. Brady Pierce will be portraying Michael P.S. Hayes in the upcoming Von Erich flick. And then you've also got Silas Mason, the Thrillbilly, who is a fan favorite here with the Alliance guys. He's going to be wrestling as Bam Bam Bigelow in the movie. So I think this is pretty cool. Obviously, this match doesn't have implications for the movie whatsoever. And honestly, in the NWA, as much as I think Brady Pierce is underutilized, undervalued, and stuck with a horrible gimmick, this match should be fun. But it's going to be Silas Mason. The Thrillbilly is too good, too hot. And when he's got Poil Del Mar by his side, it's just too damn good. And I don't think there's anything that's going to stop or prevent this match for going in the way of Silas Mason. I just like him so much. Just not going to happen. People are wanting to do like a chat thing with me, and I'm not. You don't want to do that. I don't have any viewers. All right, let's see. More comments real quick before we go off the air. Willie Bowen says, Ted DiBiase or Steve Dr. Death Williams could have been great world champions. Agreed on both of those. He says, I think Bockwinkel was offered the title, but he didn't want the schedule of the world champion. Yes, 100% yes. There is documented fact, and I say that, I don't really know if there's fact in it at all, but there was very much believed that Bockwinkel was offered to run with the belt for like a year or so, and it was just, he didn't want the schedule. AWA was more of a part-time wrestling promotion, and he could take the winters off, I believe. He didn't want the schedule. But hell yeah, Bockwinkel could have done what Flair did. He wouldn't have been the lips, the limo driving, limousine riding, jet plane flying, wheeling dealing, son of a gun. But I think he could have definitely carried that belt with some dignity, class. Doty brings up Dr. Death, Carl Gotch, Gary Albright. Ooh, Albright's a good one. Takada, yeah, Takada too. Vader, Stan Hansen. I mean, I would have loved could you imagine a Vader post WWF run in the NWA? When we talk about like guys that could have helped the NWA grow, he would have definitely been one of them. Jumbo Sutra, but I think Sutra got his flowers in All Japan, you know what I mean? Like he didn't need the NWA. I think he also had the AWA title too, if I'm not mistaken. Stan Hansen, Terry Gordy, yeah, Doty, those are all great dudes, man. That's a great list, and yes, if there was just more time. Paladin says, what are your thoughts on Taya going to AEW instead of WWE? I think that was the right choice. I mean, look, the WWE is so stacked in its roster, and when Taya was in the WWE, they were using her as Frankie something or other, and she was an NXT talent. They should have put her on the main roster, but like, look, there's lots of talented women in the WWE that get lost in the shuffle, and I think she would have been one of them. I think AEW, at least, they're going to set her up for that mid-card title pursuit, a championship match, that TBS title against Jade Cargill. And a victory for sure will elevate Jade Cargill to a higher platform. A loss to Taya Valkyrie is it's not a disrespect move at all. Taya is a world champion all over, so I think it would have been great. Frankie Monet, you guys are on top of it. But yeah, I very much would rather her be in AEW. Honestly, I wish she could have stayed in the NWA. I would have liked to have seen her get a run with the Burke, but obviously that didn't happen. let's see. Well, I guess that's about it. And Power starts in a minute. So I want to say thank you guys for tuning in this week. Man, I thought the show was going to drag today, and you guys kept me moving. So I appreciate you guys. Every Tuesday, this is what we do, and it's so much fun that you're a part of this. We'll be back on Thursday as we recap the show that you're about to watch. Of course, our boys Jeremy, Scooby, and Tim will be here on Wednesday to recap USA and also to talk about the NWA. I know Jeremy recaps the United Wrestling Network. I know Dave Scooby does fantasy booking. You guys definitely want to check that out. It's going to be a lot of fun. I check them out all the time. I drive home listening to them on Wednesdays. And I recommend that if you're home, watch it. But if you're on the road, put YouTube on and set your phone down. Just listen. And if you get to a red light, you can leave a comment. Also, real quick, we do have merchandise for sale. There's more stuff popping up on the merch block every day. This one's a popular one in my household. Both my girls wanted it, so it's available in kid sizes now on the merch site. But definitely, I'm looking forward to that. We'll be back next week talking more wrestling. Thank you guys for being here. I want to get to your comments real quick. I need a Freebird cream angle with Pollo. Yeah, I think Pollo would be. Well, they should do a Freebird gimmick with Brady Pierce, Terry Gordy, or excuse me, Silas Mason, and maybe they can find a Robert Lee for him. All right, guys, thank you very much. We'll see you next week. Until next time. See you at the matches. Thanks for checking out the Pre-Party, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. You should hit that subscribe button and join our community. I also want to remind you that we recap NWA Power every Thursday at 8 p.m. in the live stream. We try to stay social, so find us at the Alliance blog. And until next time, we are